Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Unbelievable. SmackDown's just wrapping up at the Thunderdome, and I don't even have a watch on to tell me that, but I do know a brand new Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays is now. As first reported to our Boston Wrestling MWF family on Patreon, big things are happening as we wrap up our biggest spring ever and kick off our summer of 7 p.m. beginning Memorial Day night, when brand new Wrestling Insider episodes premiere at 7 p.m., 7 days per week. We also kick off our Make-A-Wish drive in high gear to help grant wishes to awesome kids that have been waiting over a year in many cases. After an Extreme Saturday with New Jack and a Demolition doubleheader with Axe, put the women and children to bed. As fresh from the Shawn Michaels A&E biography, Marty Jannetty returns for a Party with Marty triple header, Friday, June 18th, Saturday, June 19th, and then joining us again for the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, Sunday, June the 20th, taping episodes of Wrestling Insiders, watch-alongs, and cyber autograph signings. It's going to be a huge weekend that demands fan involvement. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com for complete information and pre-ordering option. Let's help keep wrestling legends working and great wrestling talk show content being produced. We can't do it without you. Help us explode into summer, 7 nights a week at 7 p.m. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
At Night of Champions 2020, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns successfully defended the WWE Universal Championship against his cousin, Jey Uso, in a must-see battle. Here is your chance to own a piece of Roman Reigns moments before battle on this beautiful limited edition autographed 11x14 poster direct from friends at WWE. It's number 19 of only 50 made. Includes WWE authentication hologram on the poster itself, suitable for framing and matting. You'll also receive a bonus Legends autographed 8x10 photo in an on-air shout-out on Wrestling Insiders as our thanks for helping keep wrestling legends working. Get this ultra-rare Roman Reigns autograph poster now. Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
With Maggie Simpson, as she never spoke. But then he was left off the WrestleMania card, so I thought that was kind of odd, too.
You know what? Doesn't make any difference where you're left off of, as long as the check comes every week.
Right.
So my whole thing is I think Daniel Bryan has got a little bit of Phil Brooks in him. You know, CM Punk said it the right way. It's not about the money. I don't need it.
If you've made it.
Well, let me tell you
And
something.
saved it.
I'm sure Daniel Bryan, with his wife, very conservative, live off the grid. They want to be out back there, do their thing. I'm sure that Daniel Bryan has put away enough money to know that professional wrestling doesn't last forever. So I kind of think this is going to be a very interesting scenario, not only for the WWE, but for the fans.
Sure, he has had several seven-figure years. So if you put that away and...
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. And now he's got a second child on the way?
Yes.
No?
Oh, no,
Yes?
wait. No, they were born.
Well, there you
Remember,
go.
they've just... Isn't it ironic with their reality TV show? They both just happened to give birth almost the same day. I don't know how they do. It's that Bella magic, I guess.
I think I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Well, wait till they get a load of you on Temptation Island on USA Network this fall. But Marky Wahlberg is very concerned about his spot as the host, finding out now that you have interest, and maybe your main squeeze could share a cabin with you on the island.
Is that Moniz?
No, Major.
Not a chance.
What do you think they'd be willing to offer a Daniel Bryan? How far would they go for even a part-time Daniel? Right now, you got to look at it. It pretty much is part-time work. It's only 1 day a week.
Well, here's what
it doesn't get much more part-time than that.
Here's what I'm looking at when I look at this situation. Daniel Bryan used to put a lot of asses in seats. I'm not sure he's reached that. He's still at that level. Mm-hmm. When the Yes thing left, that kind of ended. When he was the underdog, they really flocked in. Now he's what? He's really jobbed to quite a few people.
Yeah.
Which is significant of the fact that I've reached the end of my tenure. Now let's see what I'm going to do about renewing it. His schedule can't be any lighter than it is now.
For anybody.
Right. So, you know what? If he's going to play the game of cash, then I'm sure that Vince will dig into the vault. And for no other reason than to make sure he doesn't go anywhere else.
Of course. Look at what they offered Rey Mysterio, so he would
and that's
say.
not fair.
And you know what? We'll look at some numbers on paper that we do know. You look at Edge, 3 years, $3 million. Would you go that far with Bryan?
I think they might go more.
Really?
I think they might go more.
You think they'd go more than $3 million a year on Bryan?
Oh, he's getting $3 million a year?
No, Edge I'm talking about.
He's getting $3 million a year
Edge
for 3 years?
Edge is getting 3 for 3, so $9 million total. Whoa. Would you offer Bryan that much? I don't think I would.
I don't think I would.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
And I think he's a great talent.
Yeah, but
I just don't think he has the appeal that Edge does.
No, and I agree with that. But Edge, I work with Edge and Adam Copeland, and my whole thing is, God bless him for working the contract he did, because not many people come back at that number.
He did very well for himself at the box office, so to speak.
Well,
and even he's not doing 52 weeks worth of TV, as we've seen. He's kind of outside of his injury. He's even since WrestleMania. I don't believe he's been on TV once. Yeah, so he's worked out very limited dates, and good for him. As the ball continues to roll, you look at it though, Johnny. If AEW really wanted to open up their purse strings, what would it mean to that company, especially where they're in that WCW type position where this fall they're going to be getting that second 2-hour primetime television show? Imagine if they, again, the Khans may have more money than the McMahons. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Samoa Joe. Imagine if you could pull that off, what that would mean for the interest of that company.
Well, think about this, though. CM Punk is right up front. That's one thing I like about Phil Brooks. There's no flies. He made it very clear. He doesn't need the money.
Right.
It's got to be something that he wants to do, and it's got to be meaningful. Will that ever happen in professional wrestling? Let's see what happens. AEW can stack the deck with whomever they wish. The fact of the matter is, you've got to develop the following. The real test for AEW, in my opinion, and I have to agree with Eric Bischoff, is run head-to-head with WWE.
Monday nights or Friday nights?
I don't care, whatever day you pick.
All right. Well, maybe one of the new shows will go against
it's got to happen.
A WWE
It's got to happen. And that's the way you're going to be able to measure the level of fan interest and participation. Once you can do that, I think you'll be able to make a decision. AEW, they may have more money. You can, Eric Bischoff proved
I'm
you can
not
buy
saying
all
the
the
company
stars
has
you want.
I'm saying they don't have more. The company doesn't have more money than WWE.
No, the
Khan family,
yeah,
though. Yeah,
but you can buy all the stars you want. It doesn't necessarily mean you're still going to be the best person on the planet.
It worked for 83 weeks for WCW, that's for sure.
83 weeks, right? That's good. Well, you know what? You're willing to play the dice? Roll them. Let's see.
Would you? Let me ask you this: if you were a Tony Khan, in what order would you approach those three as far as trying to bring them into the company in a perfect world? Joe, Punk, and Bryan.
I think I'd probably go for Joe first.
Out of those three, really?
I'd go for Joe first because it would be the easiest to obtain. Second guy I'd be working on would probably be Daniel Bryan, and the last on the list would be CM Punk. He's the one that's going to take the most negotiation and the most convincing because he's got himself in a good place. God bless him. He's worked his ass off. He's in a good place right now. And he's not concerned, even though he likes the wrestling business, he also realized there's something after professional wrestling. So it would take a lot of convincing to say, okay, CM, this is the way it's going to be. You're going to be involved in storylines that are meaningful. It's not going to be this bullshit stuff. I think he'd be the hottest one to work on.
Do you think a wrestling company has sat down with him, Johnny, and said, okay, Phil, you know, we'd really like to utilize your services. We know how much it would mean to the fans. You know, for all intents and purposes, this is a man that lived pro wrestling. There's a part of him that'll always love pro wrestling. How about, Phil, creatively, what are you looking for us to do to make a deal happen? What can we do outside of the finances? Creatively, what can we do to stir the pot in your brain to make you want to come back, even if we invested for a year to test the waters, so to speak?
Well, now you give an open contract. That's basically what you've done. I think Phil Brooks, you know what? I'm not so sure if I'd really want to use this guy in the ring right away.
Really?
I think he'd be great in production and story writing. I think he'd be great because he's got a great feel for the business. He understands the ring psychology. He can bring you in. He can bring you out. He could offer a lot in that avenue. And then just kind of write that little old contract so eventually he comes out of the back, into the front, back into the ring. I think that might work. Appearance here, appearance there. I think it'd be good. And, you know, again, it all depends on what he wants. So you give him an open contract, was what you said. Say, here, write your own contract.
Well, I'm not saying write your own contract. I'm just saying basically, okay, we generally have an idea ballpark of what you want financially. What is it that you want creatively to stir those juices?
I think he's going to want character control. I think he's going to want meaningful storylines. I don't think that CM Punk is afraid to job. I just think if he does, he wants it to have a reason and a line and a storyline. Not get in the ring, it's your turn to lay down for Dan Marty or John Cena Sr. Why? Because I said so. There's no rhyme or reason.
Well, a great point he made during his final year in WWE was, if you look at the big events, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, he did clean jobs at all of those pay-per-views to Rock, Undertaker, and Brock Lesnar. Granted, you could say that all three of those men are bigger stars than he is.
Correct.
I would make that argument. But it also, at that point, you're talking, my God, at this point, 8 years ago, you're talking about a younger guy that could still be there right now if he was happy on full-time on a regular basis, as opposed to three men that are not.
You know, I guess the thing you have to ask yourself is that he's been out for so long. Would it really make a difference if he came back? With all the new talent that's coming up, with all the new future yearly stars, regular stars coming up, how much of a difference would he make? I think the solution to the problem is, here's a guy that you take like Daniel Bryan or Samoa Joe, and you use them sparingly but meaningfully. I think that's the way to get the best bang for your buck. And you know, again, I kind of sit back and I ask myself the same question. Is he really interested in getting back in this business? Because if he was, he'd be back in now.
He's getting a little long in the tooth, Johnny. I believe he's a hair older than me, so he's in his early 40s.
60s? Oh, 40s? Oh.
You have to think at some point, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. You don't want to get to the point where you're too old.
Well, you know what? CM Punk can make a great manager. Because he's got the mouth. See, he's got the mouth.
I think fans would be disappointed in that.
Well, here we go. He's got the mouth, but he can also jump in the ring and wrestle. You know, so you do that little trick shit. He becomes the heel. He gets involved in a tag match. He's in there wrestling, doing what he needs to do. I think there's a lot of way to use these people.
Do you think a Lesnar schedule would appeal to him?
I don't know what would appeal to CM Punk. I have no idea. I know
you haven't talked to him.
He left with a bad taste in his mouth.
Yes.
And when you leave that way, that kind of sours you on the... He hasn't watched professional wrestling in how long? He hasn't been involved in it. I mean, he's backstage doing his microphone thing. That didn't even go over. So
that whole show didn't go over. It was a waste of time.
Yeah, you know, so I don't know. I think it's an interesting scenario you present. I think, as we say, the ball's in your court, Mr. Punk. What's it going to take to make you come back out and do this? You keep saying you don't want the money. You don't need the money. You keep saying it has to be this and that. Here's an open contract. Run it the way you want it.
Well, you know what I think, Johnny, is interesting is that I asked you your three. My order would have been the complete opposite. Punk, to me, would be the guy, if I'm Tony Khan, say, look, I'm going to fly up to Chicago. I'll fly you down to Jacksonville with your wife, whatever you want to do. Let's chew the fat. Let's see if there's possibly a way to iron something out. Mm-hmm. Let's see if creatively with what we have to offer on our platforms, is there a way to stir that emotion inside of you to get you to want to come back? What's it going to cost and how long are we going to do it for? And go from there, because I think now, especially where AEW is ready to go back on the road, it would be a very positive thing for them. Daniel Bryan, I think, would be easier where he has stated he wants to still be actively involved in the industry, wrestle new people in new places. Mm-hmm. And like you said, from a financial point of view, Joe would probably be easily the easiest to obtain of the three. Mm-hmm. So he would have been third on my list. But wrestling fans, what do you think? Punk, Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan? He's the free agent. Well, all of them are free agents right now. What do you think? Let us know. If you're watching during the premiere, leave your thoughts in the premiere box. If you're not watching during one of the premieres, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out the Patreon, Johnny. Of course, our eBay store is open 24/7. Forget about coronavirus killing the nightlife. Check out some of the great merch we have available now. Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Marty.
And this is the man of the hour, Leo Rush.
It's all over BostonWrestling.com and our social media. But Leo, brother, they got to check out some of this merch.
They got to.
Check it out, fans, right now, available on eBay.
Support Wrestling Insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. At Survivor Series, it was champion versus champion as WWE Champion Drew McIntyre battled Universal Champion Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. Get this 11x14 poster autographed by all three men. Limited edition, number 42 of only 50, with authentication hologram on the back of the poster itself. Comes with a mystery autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now.
Johnny, do we have one of the smartest fan bases? I love their thoughts. I love their opinions when we have the premiere of these episodes, so they let us know what they think over in that chat box to my right. I love their opinions. I love their input. I love when they use the super chat button. They don't forget to tip the bartender for this great, fabulous pop that it's going to be available on BostonWrestling.com for all of your summer barbecues coming up. Maybe once there's some vaccines, by July 4th, we'll be having some barbecues this summer. I know you like to light up the Fabo grill.
Well, now, I got to correct you, There's a difference between barbecue and grilling.
Oh, please.
Grilling is when you do your little old gas grill and throw your steaks and hot dogs and hamburgers on. I am a barbecuer.
All right.
I smoke ribs. I do brisket. I do prime rib on that smoker. I do chicken wing. That's barbecue.
I've never been invited to a barbecue with Fabo Estates, believe it or not. My invitation got lost in the mail, I guess, several hundred times.
It did. It was sent. No stamp, but it was sent.
That's why I made sure it never got to me. All right, Johnny, a man that is certainly stirring the pot of conversation in the world of professional wrestling, one that has blown my mind as far as the utter level of stupidity that goes along with the execution of the man, Adnan Virk, taking over as the voice, the salesman, the pitchman, for 3 hours each week on Monday Night Raw. A man that has admitted that he has never really watched professional wrestling, as he comes from a world of Major League Baseball. I find it interesting that prior to WWE, he was represented, had WWE President Nick Khan, who I think is very well-spoken, very smart, very articulate. He was Adnan's agent at one point. and they decided to remove Tom Phillips, who did, while he might not have been Jim Ross, I thought Tom Phillips did an admirable job.
A decent job.
He did. It wasn't bad.
Yep.
He wasn't cringeworthy. And they've replaced him with Adnan Virk, who you can tell has absolutely no idea what he's watching. He has no idea who the characters are, who he's trying to get over, how he's trying to get over, the background to any of these people, the events. In what planet is it a good idea to take someone with I think I've used the analogy on some of the other shows we do. It would be like me going out and trying to do commentary on golf or NASCAR. I know in NASCAR they go in a circle, and that's about it. I know in golf you try and hit the ball so it goes in the hole. That's about it.
I play golf, yeah.
I couldn't give you commentary on what these guys are trying to do. Why would you want to water down your own product and humiliate this man in the process? I don't know him. I can't say anything bad about him. He's just pathetic. He has not a clue as to what he's doing.
Well, first of all, if the check clears, you don't care what people think of you, number one. Number two, he has an earpiece. I'm sure that Vince McMahon or Paul Levesque, somebody is in his ear. I don't believe because he has never seen the product, because he doesn't understand the product, never been involved in the product, he's being made a bigger fool by putting him in that position. I would have hoped that they would have given this man some, 6-month training period, before you put him behind the desk. I don't even know whose idea it was to put him in that position. And when I look at the situation, I have this big why. That's all I can say. Why? Somebody have a real crush on this guy where they got to get him in there and do it? Does he draw numbers? Apparently not. Can he talk about the business, about, as you say, the people in the ring, the storyline, where it's going? Absolutely not. You might as well put Paul McCartney, the man with the dummy, put him right in your thing, and that's really what you get for commentary.
It is. I think that is one of the prime reasons why the audience is turned off. I'm so negative on women's wrestling sometimes. And I think that's part of the reason why there has been a decline in the ratings. But I'll say this. If you look back to when they took Jim Ross away from being the prime commentary man in WWE, you know what? Michael Cole, I think there are positives to him. I think he does good voiceover work. I think he does good one-on-one type interviews. I don't think Michael Cole is very effective at calling pro wrestling matches, getting pro wrestlers over, getting pro wrestling storylines over, getting pro wrestling moves over, getting pro wrestling pay-per-views over. And that's a big part of the job as a commentator in professional wrestling. You are the friend that the fan is going to sit with for the duration of that 2 or 3 hour program. If you're sitting next to someone for 2 or 3 hours that is an imbecile, that adds no value to the product, only hurts it, what benefit are you getting out of putting this man in that position?
Well, it seems like they really don't care. They're making a lot of money off the Peacock station, off the deals they've just cut, and it seems to me, and I could be all wrong here, that it's all about the shekels now. It's all about the bing, the dollar bills. I think somebody's lost track in the whole world of professional wrestling of what this is really all about. It's Luke Skywalker against Darth Vader. There's a story. Nobody seems to want to tell it anymore. And I think that's what CM Punk is saying. Nobody wants to do it. The commentator, remember, the commentator is the narrator for the book. Without him and that referee, there is no story. There is no story. And so why would you take Kerplunk? It'd be like me putting me in the ring against Randy Orton for a championship match. That's so laughable. So why would you do it? In the hopes that you could make me look like a fool?
What I found bizarre was, Johnny, I was told by friends in WWE, usually when a new commentator comes in, they have to literally sit through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of matches at WWE studio.
And make comments on them.
And just practice.
Right.
Like you would, almost like spring training for a commentator. For this man, because of his background in Major League Baseball, his first night involved with pro wrestling was the night after the biggest pay-per-view of the year, WrestleMania 37.
And it was a bomb.
Awful. And he hasn't got any better. I mean, calling his co-workers, he calls them fellas. I don't know if you've heard that.
Fellas.
What do you think of that move, fellas? I mean, it's just not working. The fact that they didn't even give him a chance to practice on hundreds of matches at WWE studios. I think they shot him in the foot before they even gave the guy a fighting chance.
Must have a great contract.
Oh, I bet you he does.
There you go.
If Nick Khan, who is now the president, used to be his agent, I'm sure Adnan was well taken care of.
That's all I got to say. They didn't call me. They call you?
No. I think you and I would make a good duo. Maybe if we get the FWW off the ground this fall as part of our 20th anniversary, we could put on the headphones together.
Have you got any resumes yet?
What,
for women?
We got 1, 2. This one got folded. What do we got?
Oh, for women?
These are all. They all want in, baby. Once they found out you were involved,
there you go.
They said. I said, well, financially, what are you looking for? They said a hug and a kiss from Johnny. I couldn't believe it.
A hug.
All of them.
A hug and a kiss and a rose.
And well, you think your name is Angel Gaza?
I give roses out.
All right. Well,
what do you think? I'm cheap like you, giving out dandelions and daisies.
I just go for the ones I can pick for
Bottle
free.
Of wine? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. All right.
Sorry, Linda. Cover your ears. Although Linda got the washer and dryer from Home Depot this week. So.
Oh, that's a bad move.
Why is that?
Go to an appliance store.
What's Home Depot?
I'm not knocking Home Depot, and I'm not knocking Lowe's or any other big box stores that sell them. But you're going to have a problem when it comes time to service it.
Really? Yeah. You've never had that problem with Majot, though.
No, I go
you
right
know
to...
how to service.
No, I go to Richard's Appliance right there in Salisbury, and I'll tell you what, I pay a few bucks more, but when I pick the phone up, right there. Right there.
That's what you get from small businesses. And I tell you that, you know what? Great comparison. I don't know how washers and dryers from Home Depot translate into wrestling.
It does.
When you look at what we do, where we are more of a small, independent-focused, fan-focused organization, as opposed to big box media like WWE and AEW, you get that more intimate fan experience. Granted, you know, our tickets certainly aren't as much as WWE's, but as far as the attention we try and give the fans, the time with the ear we try and give to the fans to listen to what they like and what they love, as opposed to sitting in on corporate media meetings and so on and so forth. That's why I think the fans love the Boston Wrestling MWF experience once they have it, because it is far more memorable than WWE. It's interaction at its finest. You get the action in the ring, but then being able to meet the stars, get up and close and personal with the stars. It's not like a WWE Fanfest where they're rushed through like cattle, where they're barely able to say hello as they're getting their item signed and then pushed out of the line. I like how we do things like that, and I hope that continues. Again, we ask you to save the date, Saturday night, November the 13th, as we go back to the 80s for WrestleFest, along with the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow competing in that squared circle as we celebrate 20 years of MWF and Boston Wrestling. 2 decades. I cannot believe that this face was 20 years old when myself and Chairman Manolian started this after WWE said thanks, but no thanks, after my 9 long months with my buddy Ed Cohen. It has been a ride and a half. But you know what? Like that song they used for WrestleMania 29 for Cena and The Rock, "We're coming home." Well, you know what? We're not going to MetLife Stadium for our 20th anniversary, but we've got Memorial Hall again, folks, Saturday night, November the 13th. I know our mystery masked intern, Justin, the man that got you the coffee, is looking forward to it quite a bit. I won't recognize him without the mask, though. He won't take it off. He's like Rey Mysterio.
You should go out with a lady like that.
I think that would make for an interesting reality show.
What's that?
Every time I'm at the supermarket, you know, sometimes you see a nice-looking lady or whatever, but they got all you see is this. You go have these people on singles go out on these dates. Then at the end of the show, they pull down the mask, and then you see if you're still interested in them.
So now, washers and dryers in professional wrestling.
And reality shows.
Yeah, we could do that. You know how it ties into professional wrestling?
How is that?
Your announcer friend, they washed him, cleaned him, but now they just hung him out to dry because he can't perform. The bounce didn't work.
And let me tell you something. Majot said this man can always perform. Again, right now, fans, we're going to take a brief time out. We'll be back with more Wrestling Insiders in just a moment. Stand by. Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Marty.
And this is the man of the hour, Leo Rush.
It was all over BostonWrestling.com and our social media. But Leo, brother, they got to check out some of this merch.
They got to.
Check it out, fans, right now, available on eBay.
As the Demon, he became the first WWE Universal Champion at SummerSlam 2016. Here's your chance to own this limited edition collector's autographed art print, personally signed by Finn Balor, one of only 50 made, direct from our friends at WWE. Also signed by original artist Rob Schamberger. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome collectible for your wrestling collection now.
Cheer! Why, hello! I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as...
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Inside. It's Dan Marty, John Cena Sr., tinkering with the format a little time-wise, having some fun. Johnny, I got to ask you, we buried Adnan Virk. We talked about our 20th anniversary. We talked about Daniel Bryan is a free agent if you missed it. One thing that put a smile on my face, I think it's one of the saddest stories in professional wrestling. If you go back to the tail end of 2018, this gentleman was being groomed for a top spot. I thought he had all the potential in the world to become a main eventer, if not a WrestleMania main eventer. Granted, a little odd the way he was switched from SmackDown to Raw as Kurt Angle's son. But Jason Jordan, who has been out of action now for several years due to a neck injury, it doesn't look like he'll be able to return anytime soon, promoted to the lead producer, which would be AKA the head agent. That says an awful lot for a man that young to be put in that spot, Johnny. If I had a hat on, I would tip my cap to Jason Jordan for one hell of a promotion.
Well done. Well done. And he deserves it. He understands the business. He worked hard at the business. It's unfortunate when somebody of his caliber gets injured and is out. This young man is permanently out of the business. I'm going to make a prediction now. I don't see him coming back.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. Well, why would you risk, even if they got him fixed up, why would you risk getting an injury again? Because this time you might not walk out.
Right.
You know, and that's why I worry about Daniel Bryan. That's why, you know, I worry about some of these other people. Edge. Why would you put your life on or your health with a family on the line? $3 million is a lot of money, but when you can't move and can't walk, it's useless. So I have a whole different mindset.
Well, you know, I'm not 100% sure the true nature or how deep his injury goes, but there are, you know, treatment facilities in Mexico and other places that have helped many of our brotherhood. Perhaps down the road, it's something he might look at. But he also could be very happy in this role of no physical interaction. He just gets to put his creative mind to use. And you know what? That could be a very nice long-term proposition for Jason Jordan and his family.
And he still gets to be part of what he loves to do. And I think that's so important.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to be in that ring.
I don't know the man, but those in WWE, some active wrestlers speak very highly of him, even those that know him that are a little older than him, which is kind of a unique dynamic to have now a lead producer / agent that's actually younger than you. But, you know, they speak very highly of him and his work ethic, and I hope it goes really good for him because he got the short end of the stick as far as his in-ring career went. He was in a tremendous tag team with Chad Gable, who always seems to get the short end of the stick himself. But then when they brought him over in that, I remember the interview that you and I did, we were trying to figure out who was the mystery person that Kurt Angle said, "I love you" to on the phone. And I don't think either one of us had any idea on the planet it was going to be Jason Jordan. But you know what? They had some fun with Kurt Angle's love of colored women, women of color. And Jason was his unexpected child. And, you know, I think that would have been an interesting WrestleMania not a main event, but a WrestleMania match they were working on. I think they could have really got Jordan over if they had Angle do the job for him the right way. And you know what? It was very sad. You know, they had him involved with Rollins and Ambrose and the top guys on Raw. And then just boom, just maybe a month or two after Roman went down with the leukemia. Jason Jordan was out. They said it was going to be for a few months, and now you're talking 3+ years.
No, I think he's finished.
And that's a shame.
I think he's finished.
That's a shame for wrestling fans. But again, while they may not see his contributions inside the squared circle, he can still his contributions through the work of others.
Yep, I agree.
So you know what? We wish Jason Jordan the best.
Kudos.
In his new endeavor, well deserved.
Yep.
Very interesting interview that came out on ESPN, Johnny. As soon as I read it, I wanted your thoughts on it. Triple H on ESPN said the reason why the trigger hasn't been pulled on a WWE Hall of Fame is because Vince McMahon thinks it's a money loser. So Triple H still wants to do it. He says it's not off the table. But I think as far as your good friend, Mr. McMahon, who has worn your T-shirts in the past, is alive, I do not think we will see that brick and mortar Hall of Fame. Now, Triple H had some interesting ideas, ones that I think you and I have even shared before, as far as to try and make it of interest. I think it'd be a great place to have NXT matches for the younger guys to work in front of people, meet and greets, stage shows, almost like little mini fan fests on a regular rotating basis, maybe as opposed to just, okay, I saw Ric Flair's robe once, okay, I saw Hulk Hogan's boots once, why would I ever go back again? And I think that's something that every Sports Hall of Fame probably goes through at one point, is it's great to say that they've been, but how do you keep them coming back and generating revenue?
You do immersive interaction. In other words, a 4D ride where you actually go through the history of professional wrestling, where you actually get involved in the ring, in the match. Triple H has got some great ideas there. You know, I hate to say it, but the Hall of Fame is nothing more than a ring. You don't, football has a Hall of Fame, basketball has a Hall of Fame, baseball has a Hall of Fame. It's not a losing proposition. With the number of people that are involved in professional wrestling, they missed their boat at Universal Studios. They could have had it right there. They could have had those geniuses who do the rides come up with a 4D immersive experience where you are immersed visually into this magic world of professional wrestling. They could do that.
A 4D ride where it's almost like you're having a match.
Whatever you want.
I think
you
that
just
would be a
ride
lot
through.
of fun. Yeah.
Go through the history of professional wrestling. It's just amazing what could be done. I just think that, you know, Triple H can say what he wants. Stephanie has a lot of input, whether people want to believe that or not. And I'm sure...
Well, she is the chief brand officer, I believe.
I'm sure that if she went to her father and said, Dad, I really think that this Hall of Fame makes sense. It's, you know, it's nice to honor those people in this business with a ring. Okay, where's the physical building that says this is the Hall of Fame I'm inducted into? I was in Connecticut. I saw Andre's boots. I saw Hulk Hogan's stuff. I was there. I saw it. I got John Cena's boots from when he was a prototype. Okay.
Oh, wow.
You know, so my whole thing is, without that physical building, you're missing one piece. Vince may feel the way he does because his restaurant failed. That was a bad investment. You know, you can't mix this. It doesn't work. If they would have grabbed
Did you ever go to that restaurant?
I never went in.
The food actually was decent.
Yeah,
but it was one of those things. Are you going to be able to generate enough revenue in the heart of Times Square to keep it going?
No.
It wasn't not a good idea.
No. And so, you know, I still go back to my original premise. You missed the boat when you didn't take the Universal shot. That would have been perfect. Perfect for him. Great, build that up, have the, you know, the Universal spot, the immersive rides, and the way you make it so people come back is the way that the theme parks do it. Every year or every other year, Universal's got a new ride. Disney opens up a new castle. This is how you immerse people into this. Talk about the tribal chief. Have a whole setup where you go to the island. Maybe that's the immersive ride. Who knows where you go from there? You know, you want to go with the Fiend? Maybe the Funhouse is set up. So there's a lot of ways to produce something that makes a lot of sense. And Vince, from me to you, I think it would make a lot of money. I know. I'm just a little guy, a pimple on the ass of progress, hoping nobody spills the Clearasil. But but I'm telling you right now, I think it would make money if it was done correct, and I have to side with Paul Levesque on this one.
I think Majot would help you take care of that pimple.
Moving right along.
But I do agree with you. I think Orlando is a great spot for it, where it is a destination for so many folks, not just around the country, but around the world outside of these coronavirus times. I mean, look at you have constant turnover of people that are going to that amusement park.
I'm going down to Universal for Halloween Horror Nights.
I'm ready,
on
baby.
my way.
I'm ready.
Talking to the lady today about tickets.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going.
Now, what do you mean by you talking about tickets?
My flight, my hotel.
You're booking the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Now, you still suggest the RIP pass?
I wouldn't be without it.
How much do they go for?
I think it might be $240. Yeah, but you know what? You want to stand in line for 4 hours to get into a haunted house?
I am lucky enough to have the ADA pass that I get, so they are quite generous with that. But
well, the haunted houses, you've got people who've been staying there for 4.5 hours, 3 hours.
Really? Are they that good that it's worth it?
Let me tell you something. When you deal with a group of 12 people, usually they did it 2 years ago. We got a free buffet. Then we went out with our group. You get right into those houses. They stopped. You have a break. Go back. Eat some more if you'd like. Back out to the last 4 houses. They had a concert. Usually what happens with the RIP is they have 2 shows. And you get into those free. And then you get on 2 of the rides free.
Wow.
It was the Transformers and the Mummy. But
I wouldn't go on the Mummy.
It's a nice ride.
I'm not a roller coaster guy.
It's a nice ride.
I'm not a roller coaster
You're in
guy.
the dark, so you won't know.
I'm not a roller coaster guy.
Well, that's what Linda said.
Well, I'm hoping Linda won't go. I'm hoping I can take little Marty and she can stay back at the hotel. And
well, I was shocked at the price.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's why $249 is
for 4 days, 3
$299.
nights.
Well, and you also probably stay the Portofino.
No, I did. I've stayed there. I stayed at the. See, my brain is gone now.
Hard Rock?
No, I've never stayed there. That book's real fast.
Pacific.
That's it.
That's the one.
I love that place.
It's a nice place.
And you get the concierge added to your hotel room, which allows you to go to the 5th floor. You get your breakfast. You get a little bit of a light lunch. At 4 o'clock, they have wine and beer. Then you have a little bit of a dinner. And then from 8 to 9, all the dessert you can eat. It's a great little take.
Included?
All included when you pay that extra fee. Yep. It's
an extra fee.
Yep, but it's well worth it. Well worth it.
Well, maybe we've never stayed there before. Maybe now that I am a Universal Pass holder, maybe there would be something for us to try. I would like to do it for my birthday. I wanted to do it for the Big 4-0, but it didn't happen. I can't believe for someone that has been to that theme park as many times as I have never got to enjoy Halloween Horror Nights as someone that loves the horror genre so much. Wow. I did like their Christmas presentation a lot.
You do a nice job with that.
But all I hear about is rave things about Halloween Horror Nights.
This is their big anniversary. You know.
They're going to go all out.
It's going to be all out.
All out. Well, Johnny, I got to ask you about this one as we wrap up the show. I was reported that Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark, a man that has been in this very studio, a man that humiliated me with WWE Talent Relations when he lied to their face about him being booked with us for an event that he no-showed. He's had his lumps, his ups and downs in the company, a very charismatic individual. His overall work, mezza. But the scandals he's been involved with, or rumored to be involved with, we'll say rumored, because he certainly has not gone before a judge and jury, but as part of the speaking out movement, he was attacked by numerous young underage boys about him sending out to use the hip term in 2021, dick pics and things like that to these underage boys. Velveteen has been backstage at Raw. The rumors are he may be starting on Raw sometime soon. I see the problem, Johnny, is every time he's been on NXT since he returned from being in a car accident, wink, wink, the feedback has been unbelievable as far as fire Velveteen Dream, get rid of Velveteen Dream, and so on and so forth, especially where WWE is preparing to go back live on the road in late 2021. Would you want to put this man on television and risk those kinds of reactions on social media, that they hype up so much their social media engagement to a man that has been, at least, and I don't like him, but I do want to be fair, he has been accused of sending these dick pics to many minors. How would you handle it?
Well, first of all, here's what I say. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty.
Correct. And I try and keep that frame of mind.
You've got to keep that in the back of your mind. Once that situation happens, then if you allow this man to come into the fold, it's very difficult to say, well, we didn't know. So I say, err on the part of caution. Keep him backstage, let him do what he's got to do until the issue is formally resolved. Because when I look at what they did to Hogan, when I look at what they did to some of the other WWE stars, it's basically saying, we don't give a shit. And you can't do that. You've got to stick to your guns. And if it is true, to me, that's just done.
Bye-bye.
Don't even waste your time.
Bye-bye.
Don't want to see you, don't want to hear from you. Just get out.
And this is from a company.
Because your rub is going to affect every other talent in the WWE. It's cancer.
Every contract they have.
It's cancer.
No media relationship is going to want to be involved with something like that. And again, they have that chanted on their TV channels. Would you? If you were Fox or USA, would you want that chanted?
And they will do it.
Kitty Diddler or something like that?
Yeah. They will do it. The fans are brutal. And I'm just talking about the indie side. When I do Johnny Fabulous, the bad guy, I'm telling you, some of the stuff that I've been called and chanted at by the fans can be very, very, very mean.
And I'll say
and it's good. It means you're doing your job.
Yes. If he is guilty, like you said, I would castrate the man and send him off to pasture forever.
That's pretty light. I have no tolerance for that.
No.
Zero tolerance for that.
And this comes from a company, as you remember from the early 90s, that almost had a chance of going out of business when they were involved with those ring boy scandals. So you'd think they would tread on the side of caution unless, to be fair, their investigating team has shown that maybe there is no guilt.
Then put it
I
forth.
would say, you know what? Here's the cell phone. Let us scrub it. Let us research your accounts. Let us see what you sent to who, when, where, and why. Oh, and if there is anything with anyone under the age of legality, bye-bye. And if he's innocent, I would make a statement that WWE has investigated Patrick Clark, a.k.a. Velveteen Dream, to its fullest. We have found no guilt in any of these accusations. Therefore, we are going to continue to present him as an active talent in WWE.
I don't disagree with that. But what about the guys that received these photographs?
These dick
Let's
pics.
take a look at their pictures on their phones, and let's see what's really going on here.
Well, I'll say this. I came across them on Twitter, some of those that made the accusations, and the bodies are identical. So, I don't know. I'll say this, if he is guilty and he winds up getting axed, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Sometimes you reap what you sow. But you know what, folks? No matter what you reap, no matter what you sow, we love you joining us here on Boston Wrestling on Wrestling Insiders. You know every Friday you got John Cena Sr. One of our associates, Glantz, has come up with some new great ideas as far as how we're going to present the shows this summer. You saw in the other room. There's a major makeover going on, a lot of construction, a lot of redecorating. My desk of, over 10 years is being dismantled. I'm going to have a little temporary home. So probably until early June, things are going to be a little hectic as far as us producing and pumping out the content at the regular times. But beginning this summer, we're going to do things a little differently. I think it's going to be fun for folks no matter where you live. We'll have more information on that probably the next time Johnny's here, once we get closer to June in the summertime itself. Can you believe? The summertime's almost here, baby.
They're doing my kitchen for me so we can do Cooking with J-Fab?
I'm ready.
When's he going to do it? I'm waiting.
We got to get Tony down, though. We got to talk to Tony.
No, just
you
me.
Don't want
Cooking with John Cena Sr., Johnny Fabulous. We'll do some fabulous
What about Moniz?
Moniz will help.
What about Majo?
Dishwasher.
All right, wrestling fans, we're running out of time. Again, if you had fun with us tonight, hit that thumbs up button. Let's show YouTube how much you love us. Again, the same thing. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have over 2,000 free videos for you to enjoy. Again, it costs not a penny. If you hit the little bell, it'll give you a notification every time a new show comes up. Another thing you can do for free that is very, very important to try and get new eyeballs of the millions of fans that are unfamiliar with what we do, share the links across social media, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook wrestling groups, popular wrestling websites. Send them an email. We have a great time on this talk show. They're very engaging. We'd like to think we're very welcoming to you. We always have the premiere chat going when the episodes launch for the first time. And again, so many other ways you can help. The eBay store we noted, it is always open. We always have great merchandise from superstars of every era. And most important, how about that Patreon, baby? Patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Early ad-free access to our studio shoot interview DVD library. You get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows. You get those Patreon exclusives, some perks. I know Johnny said he wants to engage with you guys more, because if there's anyone that I have to say, well, we may disagree sometimes, he loves the fans. He's an engaging individual. But the best part is you help keep Wrestling Legends working. Look at what we have before summer even hits June 21st, Johnny. May 22nd, May 23rd, you have the legendary Demolition Axe, a.k.a. the Masked Superstar, right here in this studio. We had so much fun the first time. This guy's coming back Saturday, June the 12th, Sunday, June the 13th for a doubleheader weekend, and it just happens to coincide with the WWE NXT In Your House pay-per-view. So maybe New Jack will join us for the watch-along party. Then, not to be outdone, as spring literally wraps up for good, June 18th, June 19th, June 20th, the party with Marty continues, baby. We're going to rock all weekend. Marty's party hasn't stopped since he came out of the womb, I think. He was dancing.
I love that man.
He was dancing in the nurse's hands.
I love that man.
Marty is, we have some unique personalities on this show.
He's a great human being. I love that man.
And I hope, Johnny, in addition to our regular talk show rotation, we have Oscar of Men on a Mission on Monday, podcast style. Right now, until we have the situation figured out, we have the Tony Atlas At Your House Classics that the fans are having fun reliving that they may have never seen from deep into the archives. Thursday night, of course, we have Marty. Friday night, yourself. Sunday, the first and former MWF Heavyweight Champion, Tiger Mulligan, now on our board of directors, has his thoughts on the world of professional wrestling. Again, right around my age, a very, very intelligent man, sharp as a whip, even if you may not recognize the name. I think you'll enjoy the talk show. But the one the fans are enjoying, Johnny, is the Wrestle House, the special edition episodes from down in Tampa. Sinister Minister James Mitchell has already joined us. TJP, the first Cruiserweight champion of this generation that won the Cruiserweight Classic. Demolition Smash, a.k.a. Repo Man. We had a lot of fun looking back at WWF 1987. Every Wednesday night, you never know what to expect on Wrestling Insider Special Edition right after AEW goes off the air. And when you add in the Weekend Review show we do on Saturday and all the other great content, 7 days a week we're pumping it out for them, Johnny. We're pumping them out more than you are on a private weekend with Majo. Oui, oui. Bonsoir. Is that what they say in French? Bonsoir? All right, wrestling fans, for John Cena Sr., I'm Dan Marty. We'll see you next week on John Cena Sr.'s Fabulous Fridays. Be healthy, be well. Good night.
The World Wrestling Federation was live at Kaling Indoor Stadium in Kaling, Singapore, Sunday, May the 28th, 1995. In the opening contest, Kwang beat Doink the Clown. The Smoking Guns with the win over Men on a Mission. Shawn Michaels defeated IRS. Kama victorious over Aldo Montoya. WWF Tag Team Champions Owen Hart and Yokozuna retained the titles over Lex Luger and Davey Boy Smith via disqualification. Adam Bomb beat King Kong Bundy. And in the main event, The Undertaker with the win over Bam Bam Bigelow. If you were in Kaling Live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.